And welcome to Basildon Retire Well TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Simon Rogers, and Simon is CEO of Basildon Financial, LLC. Simon, how are you today?
Wonderful, Cynthia. How are you?
I am fantastic. Always
Great.
a pleasure to see you. And I know that you've been so busy. You have a lot of popularity right now due to the television show. People have been calling in, booking consultations with you. Let's talk about what life has been like in the office for you.
Swamped.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a little too busy right now. Actually, yeah. We've been working long hours. It's people are calling in from the show and booking
Yeah.
appointments. So it's been wonderful. Yeah.
And I know you're passionate about saving time for your existing clients as well as blending in time for your new clients that are coming in. So it's a huge testimony that you're able to balance both, because I know that is definitely a juggling act at times.
It is. Yeah, you got to be very careful, because obviously we want to do our existing clients justice. That's first and foremost, and then we want to take care of new clients that are interested in our services. So I've had to sacrifice a few personal things just to keep up, but that's okay. That's okay.
Absolutely. Well, I should ask you, what types of questions are you hearing more than anything else right now?
Yeah, there's a number of them, but I'll start with market volatility.
Okay.
Like people are just concerned, right? They have a gut instinct that, I don't think this is a shock to any of our viewers, that, we just went through the COVID lockdown, and yeah, the market plunged, and then the feds came in and bailed things out, but we're still in a lot of states not up to full economic robust movement. And yet the stock market's higher than ever. And they just have this pangs inside that like, this doesn't add up. This is not logical.
Yeah.
So they're worried. And I think a lot of people, the feedback I'm hearing is like, are we about to go through another 2008 and 9? And so that is one of the big things that we're hearing now of people coming in concerned about.
Sure. Is that mostly for a lot of your clients that are heavily invested in the stock market, Simon, or is it pretty much across the board right now?
It's across the board. Our clients, we put plans together that protect against volatility.
Okay.
But if I could break it down into three categories, like if you're in your growth years and say you're 22 to 52, and you're piling money away. When markets drop, either due to a bear market or recession, that can actually be your friend, because you are adding money to your portfolio and you're buying low for a future date that's higher.
Okay.
So that actually can help you out.
Sure.
But when you're close to, I would say, within 10 years of retirement, that is kind of the caution zone, we say. And that's the time not to be a hero. And it is very tempting right now because the market's up, and we were like, got nervous, maybe intuitively, or they're working with somebody, they just scaled back their risk because, hey, I'm going to retire in the next 10 years. I don't want to fumble the football. I'm 90 yards down the field.
Yeah.
And I don't want to fumble it. And they just know that they don't want to take risk. Most people, it's just intuitive, logical, gut sense that they just need to scale back when they get closer to that point of retiring. And so that is the cautionary zone, and you should scale back. And then you've got people who are actually in retirement. And I would say those are the three broad categories. The people in retirement fall into two categories. People, one, who have a nest egg that they don't need withdrawals on to pay their bills. And they don't need those withdrawals for several years. That's a different situation than category B, where you need withdrawals. That person is probably in the most dangerous situation of all three categories and subcategories.
Okay.
When we use the market as our only tool in retirement, if the market's going up and we're pulling withdrawals, we're in good shape. But the market, we all know, doesn't always go up.
Sure.
We have bear markets, and that's a definition of a 20% drop. We have recessions. When the market goes down and you're pulling withdrawals, it's the direct opposite of category A, where people are putting money in, and the market's on a market dip, it's your friend because you're buying low.
Sure.
Here, you're selling low,
Mm.
and you actually mathematically do some damage to your nest egg that you potentially cannot recover from.
Wow. And so, like you mentioned, obviously, Simon, if you're in those critical years, if you will, where you need to have those distributions, you have to have a solid plan in place that's going to allow you to weather any storm.
Yeah, yeah. I would say, the building up, you hear stay the course, buy and
Mhm.
hold, and that can be fine in most instances if you're building your nest egg. But well, let's look at the other two categories. You're within 10 years of retirement, and we've scaled back. But today, I think it doesn't. That may not get the job done. So
Mm.
typically, if we're 60/40 portfolio of stocks bonds, and we move it to 40/60 or 30% stocks and 70% bonds, thinking that that's a safe play to get me through these last 10 years before I retire. Nowadays, that play may not work. And the
Mm.
reason why it may not work is there's a potential that both equities and bonds could go down roughly at the same time.
Wow. Okay.
So, a quick explanation of that, we have equities that, if you look at the Warren Buffett indicator,
Hmm.
it is the highest it's ever been. It is way higher than it was at any other peak or bubble in our market.
Okay.
Okay, so that's screaming the market's overbought, overvalued, and way too high. The second indicator we look at is the Shiller PE10 ratio. That's the second highest in history. It's
Mm.
higher than the 1929 crash.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
also signaling red flags, and equities are overvalued and too high. So that's big red flags going off right there. The other problem, and part of the reason why the equities are so high, is because we've had interest rates so low. Okay, this is all just very
Mm.
logical. Bond portfolio or portfolio managers who use bonds as part of their portfolio have migrated trillions of dollars into the equity market chasing returns that where normally they held bonds paying 4 or 5%. Now they're getting 2%. So they moved the money into equities,
Mm.
pushing the stock market value up. Then buying things like PP&L, where there's a good dividend, some kind of utility company. It's not as safe as the bonds, the principal, but at least they're getting the stream of income they're looking for.
Okay.
Interest rates have been historically low for a long time now.
Okay.
When interest rates rise, that money that migrated from bonds to equity is going to come flowing back. Supply demand is going to suppress the equity market. And then with the rise of bond interest rates, if you're holding an existing bond portfolio and rates go up, let's say your bond is paying 2%
Hmm. Hmm.
and rates go up to 4%. Well, why would somebody buy your bond off you if it's paying 2% when they can pay the same price for a 4% bond?
That is true. Simon, hold that thought.
Okay.
This is the perfect time for us to go ahead and open up the phone lines to the
Yeah.
viewers at home. Would you agree?
Yeah.
To the viewers at home, the phone number to call is on your screen. That number is 877-441-4901. If you have questions about if you're okay for retirement, or you like Simon just to take another look at your portfolio just to see if it needs to be tweaked or adjusted, he is offering you a complimentary consultation. All you have to do is pick up the phone and call today, but you have to be one of the first 10 callers. That number again is 877-441-4901. We have to take a very short commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to have so much more with Simon, so please stay tuned.
Both my parents started off as university professors in England, so I think teaching's in my blood. What we do is very complicated, but we lay it out in a way that is very easy to understand.
It's just a matter of being able to convey the information that they need most to make the best decision for them.
You don't have to do what we do for a living to take a look at our plan and within a couple minutes totally grasp it. When you're teaching, you're really helping somebody learn. So I have a genuine love and desire and kind of a need, really, to help people. I think that comes from my heart. In England, you name your house like we name our dog. Every house has a name. And the house that my father was born at is my grandmother's house, and the name of her house was Basildon. Whenever I was over there, I felt safe, and I felt loved, and I felt taken care of, and I felt everything was okay. I strive to have our clients feel that same way.
Should something devastating happen, the last thing that they need to think about is, am I covered? Am I secure? How is this going to affect me financially? I think they need to focus on being well and spending time with the ones that they love.
They feel secure in that they can depend on us to do what we say we're going to do, to help them make the decisions that they need to make.
And welcome back to Basildon Retire Well TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Simon Rogers. He's CEO of Basildon Financial, LLC. Simon, I'm so sorry I was interrupting you in the middle of a great point because the phone lines were starting to light up and they were going crazy. And I wanted to give people the opportunity to call in to gain that complimentary consultation with you. But we were talking about the bond market. So let's dive back into that if you don't mind.
Yeah. So I was saying that if you're within 10 years of retirement, we're in uncharted territory right now. So it is possible, and the Feds we all know that we had a crash in the economy and the Feds bailed everything out to the tune of trillions. They've never spent this kind of money. And the way they raise money to do that is to sell bonds. And in selling bonds, the volume of bonds they have to sell may not be absorbed by the marketplace. So what they may have to do is raise rates on those bonds to get people to purchase them. The other concern that people may not want to buy those bonds, and then we're talking other countries, is that they see our fiscal irresponsibility. I mean, we're just foot on the gas, heading for a wreck.
Sure.
So they may not want to invest in our bonds because they're like, the dollar looks like it's about to crash. And so why would I put my money into something that's going to be devalued over the next few years?
Makes sense.
So the Feds maybe not, or government may be in a position where they have to raise bond rates. And when that happens, all that money is going to flow out of equities into bonds, and then your bond portfolio is going to crash. So we, in normal times, this is not normal times. We're uncharted waters. We've never been here, and I don't want to spend the whole show going in mind-numbing data to show you why we're uncharted territories. We kind of know, all right?
Exactly.
We intuitively know without knowing all the data. But so, in normal times, if you're within 10 years of retirement, you could scale back your portfolio, the risk tolerance. I would say these days, to call the office and get, because there's other options other than doing that. And it's been one of my pet peeves in this industry that 401ks typically don't offer a real safe play where you can really make your money safe. So there are other ways to do it. It's too much to go into on the camera here, but we can certainly walk you through it either on the phone or in person. So the other category, and this is the real critical part, is when you're in retirement and pulling money out. You want to have a firm that understands withdrawals, and most firms are growth firms. They're the big,
Makes sense.
the big box retailers, as we call them, with the big names that everybody's heard of, and they're good at growing, but distribution is an entirely different animal, and it's an entirely different skill set and needs different planning strategies. If I can give you just two quick examples.
Okay.
You have $100,000 and the market goes down 50%. Now you have $50,000. The question is, what kind of return do you need to get to 100,000 again?
Well, I would say you have to get 50%, but is that correct?
That is the logical, right? You lost
Right.
50. Well, if I get 50 back, I'll be back at even. But 50% of 50,000 is $25,000. A 50% growth from 50,000, you get to 75,000.
Okay.
So a 50% decline needs 100% growth to get back to where you started.
Wow. Okay.
So mathematically, that's one important thing to understand. Now, we are behaving. Now, again, if you're putting money away, that's your friend.
Yeah.
Okay, a market decline is your friend if you're buying low in the market.
Sure.
But when you're in retirement, you start pulling money out, you need to understand your behavior of the market has changed 180 degrees.
Wow.
You're not putting it in and buying low, you're taking it out. And if there's a dip, you're selling low and
Yeah.
you're hurting yourself.
Yeah.
So let me give an example of a withdrawal on a market dip. Let's
Okay.
go back to the same. I like to use round numbers because it's just easier,
Easier,
right?
yeah.
So we have $100,000 and we're pulling 5% out to live on, $5,000, okay? And we're in retirement and we have a bear market, which is defined as a 20% decline. So the 100 grand goes down to 80 and then we pull our 5 grand, now we're at 75.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to ask you the question,
Oh,
but
thank you. Thank
what
you.
kind?
Thank you.
Yeah, so
Not
I'm not going
asking
to
a
put you on the
math
spot, but the math involved there. So now we're down 25%. The math is a 33% gain to get back to 100,000.
Okay.
But here's the kicker. Now the next year we need that 5,000 again. The 5,000 on 100 grand is 5%. The 5,000, now we're down to $75,000.
Oh, wow.
That's actually 6.6%.
Okay.
So in year two, as we enter year two, we need a 33% return on the market plus 6.6% of our money, gain of our money so we need 39.6% return in year two just to get back to 100,000. So
Wow.
that's the alarming part. So not all firms, and I would say most firms don't do and aren't well versed at retirement income withdrawal planning. And it is critical. That math right there just shows how devastating it can be.
Sure.
So you need either a way to guaranteed income so that you don't have to, your only go-to bucket is not the stock market. I mean, it's a great bucket to pull out of, and our clients pull out of it when the market's high and when
Sure.
it's going up. But when the market's going down, you don't need that math working against you. What you need is a safe bucket or a stream of income that you can depend on so that you can avoid pulling out of the market when the market's down. Let the market go down, let the market come back up again before you touch it, because you will devastate the portfolio.
It makes perfect sense. And I'm also thinking about how inflation factors into that, Simon, because if you have the cost of your goods rising and your values going down and how you're withdrawing, that can be a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, so that's a great point. So and we're experiencing inflation now. Now the I always hate to say this, but our government plays games with numbers. Okay, shocker. And I'll give you an example. So what they do to post the inflation number that's low, they will go 10 years ago. You pay $1,000 to that computer, and let's say today it's $2,000. Okay, and over 10 years that would be a 7.2% compounding inflation rate. But they don't want to admit that. So what they do is go, well, your computer today, it's got a better processor, it's got more memory, it's got more bells and whistles, the screen's better. And they take all that and go, it's not apples to apples. It's a much better computer, which is a fair argument. But then they go, so we're going to lower that. And
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
play games, and it's so that it is almost like they factor that in, and it reduces the inflation growth on it. So, but we all know, we go to the grocery store and we're like, oh my God,
Yeah, it's
gas
more
station,
expensive.
yeah,
Yeah.
everything. So
Everything.
that is a big drain. And so if we're pulling more money out, and especially if they're taxed accounts like IRAs or 401ks, 100% of that money is taxable.
Yeah.
So now what does it do? Inflation causes need a higher gross.
Sure.
We pull more money out because of
Sure.
inflation, and guess what happens with our tax bracket? Up, up, up.
Absolutely.
And so we get
Absolutely.
hurt again.
Ah, well, Simon, this is the perfect time for us to reopen the phone lines to the viewers at home. Would you agree?
Yeah, yep.
To the viewers at home, the phone number to call is on your screen. That number is 877-441-4901. Are you currently on the right road for retirement? If you're not sure, wouldn't you want to know today? Simon is offering you the chance for a complimentary consultation if you're one of the first 10 callers. That number to call is 877-441-4901. We have to take a very short commercial break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to have so much more with Simon, talking a little bit more about the stock market. So please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan. This is a $999 value that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review today.
And welcome back to Basildon Retire Well TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Simon Rogers, and Simon is CEO of Basildon Financial, LLC. Simon, an amazing show that we're having today. Just so much information about the stock market. We talked about bonds. We've talked about inflation. The exciting thing is when the phone lines have been lighting up, viewers have actually left viewer questions. So I think we should spend some time talking through some of those today. Would you agree?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's shoot.
This is a great question. It says, Simon, I have an emergency fund, and I always have that. Is that sufficient to use as a way to protect myself from market volatility using the
Oh.
emergency fund?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. Um, I would say, generally speaking, no, because what is that emergency fund there for? That is for house repairs, a new roof, furnace. Maybe the kids or grandkids need some money, or some other unexpected expense, healthcare expense, or something. You certainly don't want to deplete that fund as your go-to, so that you're not pulling money out of a down market. So that's a great thought, but I would actually structure a portfolio, and it sounds like this caller doesn't. They're now aware. They heard what I said.
Yes.
And it makes logical sense that we all know the market goes up and down, and it can stay down for prolonged periods of time. And you don't want to sell low.
Yeah.
And that math that I went through can really hurt. So with them, I would say give us a call, set up an appointment, and we can walk you through how we do things differently. And we're not the typical firm out there. So we will show you exactly how to solve this problem, and how to have either a bucket that you can go to that's safe, so that other than your emergency fund, you don't want to deplete that.
Sure.
Or a stream of income that you can have your cake and eat it too. You can get the stock market returns, but you don't back yourself into a position where if the market plunges, that's your only go-to. That's horrible. You don't want to. When we talk about diversification, you don't want to use just one tool in retirement planning.
Sure.
As that tool being the stock market. Like, why would you do that? That's not diversified. You've got one tool. That market goes down, now you're in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes perfect sense. Thank you, Simon.
Yeah.
This is a great question as well. It says, Simon, in another show, you mentioned fixed annuities generally are paying higher rates than CDs. Could I use that as my safety bucket?
Ooh, okay. Well, thanks for being a repeat show watcher, and good that you paid attention to the other shows and learned. A I'll qualify that answer. If it's a new fixed annuity, I would say that wouldn't be a great tool because annuities come, generally speaking, with surrender charges.
Okay.
Now, that surrender charge may be 5%, and the market could have plunged 20% in the bear market. So, you're at least you're not losing 15 more percent, but we
Sure.
don't want to even lose 5%. So generally speaking, that's not the best tool. However, if you've owned that annuity for a number of years and it's out of surrender charge or it's close to being out and it's like a 1% surrender charge, and so pulling money out of it doesn't hurt you, then yes, that could potentially be the tool to go to.
Mm. Simon, I have to ask you another question. This is a great one. It says, Simon, would you recommend that the older I get in years, I start limiting my exposure to the stock market? I love how they said that. The older I get in years, should I start limiting my exposure to the stock market?
That depends. So at our
Okay.
firm, we do everybody who walks in, we do custom planning for everyone. So
Okay.
I would need more data on that
Okay.
person to kind
Yeah.
of answer that. I mean, I don't know if they've got like, $4 million and they don't even
Yeah.
need any money from it. And they have goals of passing on as much as they can to the kids or grandkids or charities, or they have a different situation going on where they're needing withdrawals. So, yes, well, I shouldn't even say generally speaking. I mean, in a logical stance, you may the market is let's look at it this way. The market is a tool for good long-term growth,
Okay.
but it's a horrible tool for withdrawals if it's your only tool for withdrawals. So the way we do planning is we use the market as it's designed, and we don't back our clients into positions where the market is the only bucket we have to go to get money out. So we
Sure.
use the market, absolutely. Oh my gosh, but we continue to use it the way we've been using it for 40 years, which is a long-term growth play.
Yeah.
And again, it's fine to take money out if the market's up, but when it's down, we need another go-to.
Sure. Well, Simon, thank you for another amazing show this week. I know the viewers at home have enjoyed it very much. So thank you again for coming in this week.
Thank you.
To the viewers at home, most specifically, thank you for spending time with us. That number to call is 877-441-4901. We know you have a lot of questions about how to retire comfortably, how to retire with a plan. Simon is offering you the opportunity to come in and to have a plan design that's going to suit your needs. All you have to do is pick up the phone and call today, 877-441-4901. Be safe, be happy, be blessed, and we look forward to seeing you back here, same time next week. Take care now.